Hi class, welcome to Marketing 232, Social Media Marketing. I am excited to work with you this whole semester on the strategy and tactics behind good social media marketing. Before we jump in, I want to ask you something. Have you seen Punch the Monkey situation that's happened recently? Punch is a baby macaw that's in a zoo in Japan, and it was abandoned by its mother, and it bonded with a stuffed orangutan toy. The internet has lost its mind over this. Now, IKEA makes that stuffed animal, and it is $19.99. That's how much it costs. And when this story blew up, IKEA actually had their Japanese president of IKEA drive to the zoo and donated 33 more of those plushies for Punch. Their social account immediately just posted a caption that said, "We're all Punch's family now." That's it. I don't know if you saw the picture. Here he is carrying his animal, which is so cute. And then this was an ad they recently posted. Sometimes family is who we find along the way. That is some amazing social media marketing. Now, social media marketing is interesting in that you might be a really skilled social media user on your personal accounts, and that's great, but it's not the same thing as being a social media marketer. And that gap between your personal use and professional strategy is exactly what this course is about. The textbook calls this right out in chapter 1, saying that social media marketing is the use of social media platforms and sites to promote a product or service. But the key word in that definition isn't social, it's promote. Every decision you make as a social media marketer has to serve a goal, not just get likes, not just look good, but serve a measurable business goal. So that distinction is something that's going to come up again and again this semester. So let's build on it. Let's talk through the three, we'll call them pillars, of the framework of social media. And that is paid, owned, and earned media. So paid media is exactly what you would think. It's what you pay for. An ad you buy, boosted post, sponsored content. You control the message completely, but the audience knows that you paid for that spotlight. Owned media is what you build. So your Instagram page, your Facebook profile, your TikTok channel, your YouTube space, you own that space. You control what goes on there, and you build that audience yourself. Now, earned media is where this gets interesting, and honestly where the most powerful social media marketing happens. Earned media is when other people share your content, talk about your brand, leave reviews, create their own content about your product. You didn't pay for it, you didn't post it, but it's happening because you did the work well enough that people wanted to spread it. We can see this even with that ad that I just talked about with IKEA. The amount of people that have reshared that post. I did it myself on LinkedIn, talking about really good reactive marketing. Now, the reason this matters is that you're going to be working on a project this whole course, and smart social media strategy uses all three of those types. You're not just scheduling posts. You're thinking about how your owned content earns attention, and when you use paid amplification to accelerate it. So let's talk about a myth. So there's a myth that chapter 1 walks through 7 of, and one of them I want to highlight is this one. Anyone can do social media marketing. It doesn't require any specialized knowledge. And I see this trip students up, and honestly, a lot of entry-level marketing hires will also think this. Here's why that myth is a little bit sticky. Social media feels intuitive. The apps are designed to be easy to use. Posting isn't hard. So the assumption becomes marketing on them isn't hard either. But think about what you're actually being asked to do as a social media marketer. You're being asked to understand audience psychology well enough to know what will stop someone mid-scroll. You're being asked to read analytics and make decisions based on data and the ever-changing algorithms and ways that social media channels change how we can see and view things. You're being asked to maintain a brand voice consistently across multiple platforms while adopting the style of each one, which is a little bit different, right? And you're being asked to tie all of that into real business results your organization or business really care about. So that's a skill set that takes some time, and it's one we're going to work on this semester. So I want to talk about just a personal example. I used to work at a marketing agency in Asheville, and we hired a new graphic designer, and there was a company that was one of our clients, an international fiber optics company. And the new graphic designer created some imagery for the content calendar on social media, and it was fun and on trend and felt kind of new. That graphic design came to me for review before I showed it to the client, and it was not in line with some of the standards they had set for imagery and really more specifically the audience they were trying to reach. This new designer hadn't taken the time to research the company and where their audience was, what that demographic looked like, or read through their brand story that we had worked on. So I had to make those changes and show them, here's where this needs to be tweaked, or it's not going to hit the mark of who this company is trying to go after and what their goals are. So what's the point of that? It's that you learn once you're doing this that a brand voice isn't just a fun thing to do. It's the basis and foundation of everything you're building on. Before you can create a post, you have to know deeply how that brand talks, what it cares about, what it would never say. Because if you get that wrong, it doesn't matter how many likes the post gets, you're eroding the trust in the brand every time someone reads it and thinks, that doesn't feel right. Tying back into that IKEA ad, if you look at the way IKEA has consistently done marketing messages, as well as what their brand, the things their brand cares about and is involved with, that post is very in line with what their brand voice is. So milestone 1 in this course is going to start with brand identity. Before platform strategy, before content calendars, before any of that, we're going to work on that brand identity. And that may be something that you hadn't thought through before you do the fun thing of a graphic and a post, is really thinking through a brand identity. So I want to talk about how we create some goals. So chapter 2 gets more into goals and strategy, and this is where I want you to slow down a little bit, because the SMART goal framework is something that you'll use in every module of this course, other courses as well, and honestly, any business field you're in. It really will help with your milestones and almost certainly in a real career job that you would hold. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's make it real. I want to grow Instagram. That's not a goal. That's a wish. So increase Instagram followers by 20% over the next 90 days by posting 5 times per week with a focus on behind-the-scenes content. That's a goal. Notice what the goal does. It tells you exactly what you're measuring. It gives you a time frame. It implies a method. And most importantly, at the end of 90 days, you either hit it or you don't. No ambiguity. There's a way to measure it. When you get to milestone 2 in your project, platform strategy, you're going to write 2 or 3 SMART goals for your brand. Don't skip past this requirement. This is where the strategy is going to live. One thing I'll add in from practice, the R, relevant, is 1, people push through or rush through. Make sure your social media goals are actually connected to a business objective. Follower count is only meaningful if more followers lead to something the business cares about. Sales, foot traffic, awareness in a specific market. This ties in to some real world data here because it's relevant to everything that we're covering in chapter 1. So Hootsuite did a social media trends 2026 report, and I have linked that full report, a PDF of it, in the resources of this module. and it identifies something important about how social media actually works right now. The algorithms have fundamentally shifted. A few years ago, follower count was a really meaningful signal. More followers generally meant more reach. That's not really the case any longer. What the algorithms are reading now are micro behaviors. Did someone hover over your post? Did they rewatch a reel? Did they pause? Those signals matter more than whether they hit the follow button. Think about when you're on TikTok. A lot of times you might not be liking posts, but the length of time you stay on it, the ones that interest you, are all creating what you're viewing. So this is telling us that a lot of reach is driven by relevance and not by audience size. So what this means for your semester project is the brand you build matters more than how many followers you theoretically have. If your content is genuinely relevant to a specific audience, the algorithm will find it for them. That's not magic, that's just strategy. All right, so let's talk about the setup for this week, okay? So I want you to read chapters 1 and 2. Don't skim them. Really read those chapters because they really set the strategic foundation for everything else. Chapter 2 in particular, on the 8-step social media process, is the backbone for how your semester project is structured. You are also going to get started on Hootsuite Academy. You'll do the first part of the social media marketing course this week, and these are free and really genuinely helpful. Not just for the grade, but because Hootsuite is a tool, it's really one of the most popular tools that marketing teams actually use. And you will be able to get a certification at the end of these courses that you're taking that you can put on your resume. The last thing you're going to do is you are going to record a video intro for our forums. So our forums this semester are going to be about half written and half video. ScreenPal is what we're going to use. Should be around 2 minutes your post. You're going to tell us who you are, where you're coming from, and a brand whose social media presence you actually admire and why. This is also your first chance to get comfortable behind the camera recording yourself, as your final project is going to have a video pitch portion of it. So, love to see you in the forums. If you have any questions about these assignments, please reach out, email me. Make sure you include the class and the module you're asking about. I also have office hours where I would love for you to come by in person or set up a quick Google Meet chat. So, let's get started on Module 1.